Okay, hello there, people of the universe. Today I'm Ville. Well, I'm usually other days I'm Ville too, but today I am Ville and we are gonna talk about Survivor Cagayan finale. It was the 28th season. Actually, we're gonna talk about the whole season, but yeah, 28th season of Survivor and one of the best seasons, I would have to say. Really entertaining. Lots of different fluctuations here and there, so very nice. And the season finale aired on Wednesday, so if you haven't watched that yet, so go watch it first and then come back to this video. I'm ordering you with my super hypno suggestive powers. You will go and watch it and then come back here. Meow, meow, meow. Yeah, and that's gonna totally work, I'm pretty sure of that. But yeah. So it had 3 tribes set up from the start. Brains, Bronze, Beauty. Great theming. Some kind of, or a kind of theming that everyone can identify. Everyone can identify with at least one of these characteristics. For me it was the brain characteristic. But yeah, and the tribe did awfully at the start, which was pretty funny and pretty tragic at the same time. But yeah, and I think that these kinds of multiple tribe setups that I have always liked seasons where you have 3 tribes or even the 4 tribes at the start. And I think that maybe they even should change the basic setup of Survivor to 3 tribes at start. Because, I mean, it creates more opportunities for more mixing up. Like in some seasons where you have only 2 tribes, then you have the main groups there, then you get to the merge, and the group that has the more numbers is gonna vote out the other group. And that's it. That is really boring. I mean, okay, of course the shows are still great to watch, but it's more boring if you have this kind of like, okay, this or this setup. But when you have 3 groups, like here, you have 3 different groups and every group has their own little groupings there. Then you create a mix-up and then you suddenly have 2 tribes and then you have these three little groups and then you have like 2 new groups. So then you have again new combinations there, and then when there's a merge you have all these different things combined into one. So there are more possibilities for people to change like alliances and do this kind of stuff. So I think that is a good combination. It works better than just 2 tribes. Although I have to say that the Survivor 1 world was pretty interesting, where you had 2 tribes on the same beach, so that worked pretty nicely. But yeah, maybe try the 3 tribe setup more, like in future seasons. I wouldn't object to that at all. But yeah, so you had the final 4 here: Cass, Spencer, Wu, and Tony won. And I'm totally happy for Tony because he played an amazing game. He was a Brawn member, and this is also an interesting thing to think about, that the Beauty tribe was the first one to be voted out entirely. So none of the beauties made it to like the final 4 or even final 5, I think. Which is kind of like maybe not even final 6. I'm not sure. But yeah, that you had 2 brains and 2 brawn in the end. So yeah, why did Beauty do so badly? I think they were afraid to make moves, but Tony wasn't afraid to make moves. I think this was one of the best plays in Survivor history, that he was really aggressive. Well, first of all, he had the ability to read people really well, like if they're bluffing or if they're telling the truth, and he had this kind of preemptive game style that, okay, this person is not on board fully, so I'm just gonna take them out before they can even do anything. And that was a really good strategy, And well, he was hustling his ass off finding idols and whatever. He found 3 idols, and then even then he had the super idol, and he bluffed with the freaking super idol that I'm still protected in the next round, even though he wasn't protected, and everyone bought the bluff. So it was just a great game. And the thing is that I don't know if you guys have watched these. Well, there's a channel on YouTube called Survivor on CBS, I think, and you can watch it. It doesn't matter what country you're from, you can watch these videos, and you have the Ponderosa videos there when the jury members are voted out and they come into the Ponderosa, into the place where they are after the show and during the jury. So those are interesting videos. And then you have the live interviews. So after every castaway was voted out, so like the show aired on Wednesdays, and then on the Thursday you had a live interview with Parvati, and Parvati would interview after the show aired that castaway that was voted off. And there's something like 20-minute, 30-minute interviews, which include, well, they were live on Thursdays, but obviously the timing is a bit bad for me in Finland. But I watched them after that, and you had live questions, live tweets, and whatever. So those are pretty interesting to watch too, that they had these kind of live interviews, and I hope they keep that up, the same thing up in the next seasons, because it's always nice to hear that even the people who are voted out first, that they get a little platform, a show like this where they are interviewed, just them, and they can answer questions and they can tell about their own experience in the show. I think that's a great format, because the show only has limited time, and the people don't always get to tell their whole story, or you don't get the full picture. So this kind of interviewing, it works really nicely. And we were a bit afraid that there would be spoilers there, but in the end there weren't. I mean, obviously the jury already knows who are gonna be in the final 3 or final 2, but there really weren't any spoilers. I watched all the live interviews, so I hope that format is gonna be done in the next seasons as well, because it works really nicely and you get a fuller picture of everyone's experience on the island. So very nice. But yeah, that if you have watched these interviews, then like in the last interview, Parvati was interviewing Tony there, and you have these comparisons to Russell at sometimes, and like Tony said there that there's a difference, that Russell's problem was that he had an aggressive game. Tony had an aggressive game too, but Russell didn't care about the people. His social game was pretty bad. Just like with Cass. Cass's social game was pretty bad. But with Tony, he was really aggressive and finding his idols and whatever, but he also had a social game. He actually cared about the people. He gave Trish extra food, like of his own food, to Trish when she was really hungry and whatever. And Tony was never like really rude to anyone. He might have said straight that, okay, this is how it's gonna go. And he had some like open fighting with Cass, but he said that, well, no one liked Cass, so you could just do that. It didn't matter if you fought with Cass there, because Cass was pissing everyone else off. But yeah, he had a really good social game, and the funny thing is that he was a Brawn member, and he didn't win any single immunity challenge. So his main aspects or assets in the game actually were strategy and social play. So yeah, that's pretty interesting to think about. But yeah, the game was really good, and he kind of combined this Russell type aggressive game with really good social play. This was kind of like what Boston Rob did. That Boston Rob ran a really tight ship as well. He was paranoid. He was like trying to put out any little fire there were, like cut people off before they could even do anything. If there was any kind of threat, then he would cut the person off. And well, that's one style of playing the game, and it works. But you have to have like be digging out on the idols, and you have to be social to know what's going on, but you still have to be likable. That's the thing. If you're not likable, then no one's gonna vote you as the winner. And like Tony said in the interview, that I mean, that proof is in the pudding. That shows that if he was a total jerk and douchebag to everyone else, then it doesn't matter if you get to the end, that they wouldn't have voted for Tony. And most people did vote for Tony in the end. Even if they gave him crap in the tribal council, last tribal council, then still they voted for Tony, because he had real connections with people. Even if he was manipulating and playing the game, he still wasn't a total jerk bag. So that's kind of like, yeah, that's a good combination. Really aggressive, but still that you're not a total jerk. That you still have a good social game. Even if you don't win challenges, like in the single immunity phase, then, yeah, that got him into the end. And it shows that Wu took Tony to the end. I mean, Wu won. First, Cass won the immunity, and Spencer was voted out, which was a shame because I was rooting for Spencer. I hope he gets his chance at redemption at some other game. Same with Tasha. I think Tasha played a really good game, that she was winning immunities and still she had a good social game going on. So Tasha and Spencer, I wouldn't mind seeing those two again. But and then Wu wins the final immunity challenge, and then you have Wu has to pick Cass or Tony, and that is the difference. That Wu picks Tony because he has a real bond with Tony. He knows something about Tony. Even if Tony is doing this and that kind of moves, which are part of the game, he still knows that, okay, there is something, like, I like this guy, like, I know something about this guy. This guy is not a jerk. So that's how it happened. As with Cass, did Wu really know Cass? That was Cass's problem. Like Cass said in the interviews and in some of the videos, like on the show, that she was playing a strong game, and that it was only because she was a woman that everyone was like, if you're a woman and you do these kinds of moves, then you're a bitch. But if you're a man and you do these kinds of moves, then you're like this great player or whatever. And I don't buy that, because Cass was being a bitch. Like, they said that no one really did like Cass. Like, Cass was annoying at the camp, and then she was doing this, like, creating chaos, as she said. But, like, she was also, like, betraying people's trust, that, okay, let's go with this group, and then she suddenly gets vindictive, like, okay, I don't like this person, I'm gonna vote this person off. Like, she did the moves on her own. That is the difference. And she was being rude to people. Like, she even flipped Trish off. When Trish was voted out, then Cass just went like, tss. So that's total opposite of what Tony did. Tony was voting people off and doing this kind of preemptive striking, but Tony was still mending bridges after that. Cass was not. Cass was just like, yeah, whatever. You're going home. Or I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I'm a free agent. So that's the total opposite. So, yeah, it's not about your sex, if you're a man or a woman, but if you're rude, just like Russell was. Russell was rude. He played a good game, but he was rude to people. And that's not going to pay off. Even if you get to the final, then no one is going to vote you as the winner if you are rude to everyone. So, yeah. So I don't buy Cass's this kind of defense that it's only because she was a woman. No, you were a jerk. But you have to give Cass credit, or have to, but I at least give Cass credit for that she was actually making moves. Even though I didn't think that the moves made much sense, it just seemed like she was pretty vindictive that, hey, okay, Sarah is now in the place of power, so I'm not gonna allow that. Like, I'm gonna vote Sarah out or whatever. some of the votes seemed like revenge votes, but at least she did that. At least she did something. Like some of the other women, like Jeffra had a good spot in voting Tony out, like flipping the script. But she didn't, and it was clearly that she disliked Tony and whatever, but she didn't have the guts to do it. And then when Tony voted her out, then it was like, oh, why did Tony vote me out? Why did you turn your back on me? When it was clear, like, I mean, it was clear from Jeffra's face that she didn't like Tony and all these things that she was planning. So it was only a matter of time when she was gonna vote Tony out, but she didn't. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense to complain that, oh, why did you vote me out before I got to vote you out? I mean, that's the game of Survivor, and that's the beauty of Tony's game, that he had the eye to spot that, okay, maybe there is something there, Joe, so I'm just gonna get Jeffra out. And it worked. Tony cut off every little threat there was, and it was really good, like, risk management, that you get these people out who are not gonna be helping you, and who are gonna be possible threats there, so very nicely done. But that was the problem with Cass. That Cass, when Wu is selecting, do I take Tony or do I take Cass? Then, like, if Cass has played this kind of loner game the whole time, I'm a loner, I'm a free agent, I do whatever I want to do, and I'm rude to people, like, it's this kind of like, what? This kind of random game, it seemed pretty random, like a random game. Although she was making moves, okay, that's good, but if they're random moves, then it's kind of like, and if you're rude to everyone, then what's the point? So that's the difference. That if you get to the finale on your own, and this was just exactly the same thing as like last season, there was this, what was the name of the woman who got into the end? Then if it's a loner game, then no one is gonna vote for you, because you're a loner, you don't have any contacts with people, you don't have any kind of like bonds with people, and this is the thing, Tony and Wu had a bond. So I totally get Wu's decision that, hey, I'm gonna take Tony and let the best man win. It makes sense. And that cast didn't deserve it that much. I agree with that. So that's the problem of the loner game in Survivor, that it's just like, it's a people's game, it's a numbers game, it's a social game. The social aspect is one of the crucial things in the game. If you play on your own, no one's gonna vote for you because they don't know you. And if you're rude to people, it doesn't matter if you get to the end because they're not gonna vote for you either. So yeah. But like I said, I hope that we're gonna see Spencer and Tasha again, and I hope there's gonna be a Heroes versus Villains 2. I think that it was season 20, Heroes versus Villains, so maybe season 30. The next Heroes versus Villains, and Cass would be perfect for that if she just accepts. So I don't mind seeing Cass again, like, at least she did make some moves, and she was annoying, yes, I hated her, or hated, but I didn't like her playstyle because it was so random. But yeah, it was still entertaining in a way. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Cass in the next Heroes vs. Villains 2 either. Yeah, and what comes to Spencer, he played a good game. The Brains tribe was just a mess at the start, but he found an idol and he had the guts to play the idol. That's another thing. People might just like keep their idols and not do anything, and then they get voted out. At least Spencer played the idol, even if it was at the wrong place, but still he was scrambling and doing whatever he could do to stay in the game, and he managed to get to Final Four, so that's pretty damn good. So yeah. So my opinion that there's still like a lot left in Spencer, that he could make it even further in another game. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, great season, and the next season is gonna be what is it, San Juan del Sur or something like that, Blood versus Water 2. And well, I don't object to Blood versus Water 2. We have only had one Blood versus Water so far, and it was okay, yeah. But I hope that they get fresh faces there. That last time they got half of the cast was survivors, like previous Survivor players. Okay, that's okay, and their relatives. So it's kind of like, everyone there is kind of related to Survivor, like that they have some connection to Survivor already. So it just felt a bit weird, like a celebrity addition or something like that. So yeah, I'm not sure if I want that again. That I would prefer that they would have fresh members and their relatives there. And well, I think it's probably gonna be a 2-tribe setup. Well, Blood versus Water, it's pretty obvious that it's gonna be 2 tribes. But what can you do? And then you're probably gonna have Redemption Island there again, which I hate. I don't like Redemption Island at all. Like, well, it's a different concept. Then you had this kind of thing like Exile Island, whatever. But Redemption Island, I just think it's redundant. It takes so much from the show. Like, you have a 1-hour show of pure television greatness, that is Survivor. It's a great show. It's one of my favorite shows ever. But and yeah, I watch it online because the Finnish Survivor is that, like, we are showing Survivor on television, but it's something like 2 years later than they're actually coming out in the States, so I'm not gonna wait that long for that. Not a chance in hell for that. So I'm just watching it online so that I can watch all the Ponderosa and all the interview videos and whatever straight after they come out too. But yeah, it's a great show, but you have 1 hour, and then when you have Redemption Island, then one portion of the show is suddenly dedicated to the losers fighting on their own, and then still there's like no chance, or there's no probability that even if someone is winning like 5 times in a row, then it's still not certain if the guy is gonna make it back into the game. And because they have been voted out already, then most of the people are not gonna like them and are gonna vote them off anyway. So it's kind of, it makes no sense. There's no payoff. Why dedicate a portion of your great show every time for this kind of loser fest? And I don't mean like, yeah, these are losers because they have been voted out, but because, I mean, they have been voted out, and that's just how the game goes. And then they are fighting amongst each other, and then, like, it takes a long time, and then only one person gets back in the game, and then they get out. So it makes no sense. It's just a waste of time. It takes time away from the people who are actually in the game, who are still in the game. Takes time off from showing these people's personalities, takes time off from showing their shenanigans, their strategizing, their challenges, whatever. So I don't know how you guys feel about Redemption Island, but personally I think it's really grindy. It's tedious. It's depressing because these people have been voted out already. Like, oh my god, yeah, we have been voted out. Yeah, we still have to endure this thing for so many weeks. It's depressing. So no, I don't think it's a good concept. It's just like, it takes away from the show, in my opinion. Maybe just make it, if you have to have it, then make it something that is faster, something like that. But now it's too long. It's too long and takes too much time. But the thing is that it's blood versus water, and last time you had Redemption Island there, and there was the mechanic where when your loved one is there, you can take their spot, and that was kind of one of the ideas in the show. So I'm a bit fearful that it's gonna come back. We're gonna have Redemption Island there, and that's not gonna be cool. But I mean, yeah, it's still a good show, but I just don't like the mechanic at all. But yeah, let me tell you, what do you guys think about Redemption Island? Do you like it or not? And I mean, I have watched all of the seasons of Survivor, and I have liked most of these seasons. I actually don't remember a season that I didn't like, but the Redemption Island I just don't like the thing there. Why have that kind of portion there to take time away and depress people when like other parts of the show are great entertainment? So yeah, but that's what it's gonna be, and we have to wait for that. When is it? It's gonna be September when Survivor starts again, so it's gonna be 3 months, 4 months to wait. God damn it. But yeah, that's what it is. But we wrapped this season up, and yeah, congrats to Tony. Great job. And do go, if you haven't watched the interviews, do go watch those. Survivor on CBS, like I said, you have all the interviews from the other castaways, and then you have the interviews of, well, the final 4 there too. So these are very interesting in my opinion, so do go watch them. But so what is your opinion on Survivor? Have you watched this season? So what did you think? Was Tony the right guy to win? What did you think of Cass? So whatever comments, opinions you have on the show, then, or this video, or my opinions, whatever, then leave them below. But this has been on my Survivor recap of Cagayan. Great freaking season and more. 3 tribe setups, please, CBS. Yes, so see you guys later. Bye.